All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Blake Adams. We're here for criminal status and motion hearings this morning. We have Ms. Karimi from the state via Zoom. Good morning. All right, we do have several people. Good morning. We do have several people in the courtroom who will try to take first. I've got two attorneys in the courtroom. Whoever was here first, I guess, can go first.
Your Honor.
Good morning.
My contact on behalf of Ms. Danielle Hall with her consent. Your Honor, we have reached a resolution with the state, which will be as follows. We're going to change our plea to no contest. It will be withhold of approval, of course, with you. $100 fine, court costs, and cost of prosecution.
All right, does your client need some time to pay?
Yes, 90 days.
All right, 90 days to pay.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Creamy. All right, and everyone was sworn in who was in the courtroom, correct? Yes. All right. Ma'am, will you state your name? And Ms. Hall, your attorney has indicated you wish to withdraw your previously entered plea of not guilty, enter a plea of no contest, and accept the state's offer to resolve your case today. Did you hear the offer that your attorney placed on the record? Do you have any questions about it? Do you want to accept it? Are you pleading guilty or no contest? I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? Yes. And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you? Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form? Yes. And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today? Yes. Do you understand that your plea will be used in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Yes. Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? No. Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? No. Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice? Yes. Has he done everything that you've requested? Yes. Any additional questions from you, Ms. Karimi?
No, Your Honor.
Right. Counsel, will you stipulate to venue and to factual basis for the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest. Withhold adjudication, impose a $100 fine as well as all court costs, including costs of prosecution, and I'll give you 90 days to pay those fines and costs. If you need more time than that, you can work out a payment arrangement with the clerk prior to the end of 90 days. We're going to have you step right over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I may be excused.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Richard Sullivan on behalf of Karina Cypress for a plea this morning.
All right.
I received a text message from her that her husband gets off late this morning at 9:30. She doesn't have a license, that's her ride. She
Okay.
expects to be late.
All right.
So I don't know
Well-
how patient the court can be today.
We'll recall it. We've got 30 cases on the docket today, so, all right, thank you. I mean, if they're represented by the public defender, I don't have the public defender here. Good morning, Ms. Woodley.
Good morning, Judge. How are you today?
I'm well. Are you covering for Ms. Armpriester also?
I am.
All right. All right, are you ready, Ms. Armpriester? Hey, Ms. Woodley, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm good. Okay. Danielle Garcia. This is case number 20 CT 2149, Daniel Garcia. He can be withdrawn his previous plea of not guilty for a plea of no contest to the following agreed upon terms. This will be an adjudication of guilt. Thank you. $1,000 fine. All court costs. 12 months of probation, no early termination for 6 months. 12 months of driver's license suspension, asking that he can get a hardship if the DMV deems him worthy or deems him fit. DUI school, substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations with random testing. No alcohol. 10-day vehicle impound. 75 hours of community service, no buyout, victim impact panel, and I believe the state's, in correct me if they're doing a restitution just or to reserve.
We're not, the victim's not seeking restitution, Your Honor, so we don't have to add it on the judgment.
Right.
And that's it.
Public defender fees.
And public defender fees. Well, costs.
Your Honor, the state would request cost of prosecution on all pleas taken today.
All right, thank you. All right, were those terms correct, Ms. Creaney?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, were you in the courtroom and previously sworn? Okay.
Judge, I think he's, oh, is he 18 now? I think he's 17, Your Honor.
Yes.
His mother is accompanying him.
Oh, okay, sorry, I can't see that.
Sir, will you state your name? Mr. Garcia, your attorney has indicated you wish to withdraw your previously entered plea of not guilty and enter a plea of no contest and accept the state's offer to resolve your case today. Did you hear the terms of the agreement that were placed on the record by your attorney? Do you have any questions about them? And we state your name, ma'am? All right, and what is your relationship? Okay, do you have any questions about the terms of the agreement? Do you need an interpreter? Okay, we're going to recall this case. If I could have you take a seat and we'll recall you back up, okay? Thank you.
Angelo Gutierrez. This is Angelo Gutierrez in 2022-1514. In withdrawing his previous plea of not guilty, entering a plea of no contest to the following terms. In the adjudication of guilt, 10 days of jail, court costs, cost of prosecution, and public defender fees. You going up today? Did you make my interest today?
I can go in there. I have no problem with it.
Ms. Woodley, we need to know if somebody's going into custody.
The very fine.
Right, let's recall it. We're going to recall your case. We've got to prepare for you to go in. All right. Ms. Woodley, while you speak to the next client that you're going to call, I'm going to call on Mr. Miller. Good morning.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Judge. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Your Honor, I believe Landon Miller on behalf of Constantine Harold Lamba's case number 20MM1617. Judge, I believe a plea in absentia affidavit has been filed with the court. At this time, I would ask the court to review the plea in absentia affidavit, accept it, and would request 90 days to have Mr. Haralambous make his financial payments.
All right, and it looks like the terms of the agreement are an adjudication of guilt, all court costs, including costs of prosecution and cost of investigation to the Collier County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $200.50.
That's correct, Your Honor. If you would notice, though, I believe the state is going to orally amend from a battery to an assault.
All right.
That's correct, Judge. At this time, the state would orally amend the charge to assault in violation of Florida statute 784.011.
All right. Lisa, do you need me to repeat any of that?
No.
Okay. All right, Ms. Karimi, have you had an opportunity to review the plea in absentia forms?
I'm taking a quick look at it now, Your Honor. Well, paragraph 10 talks about a no valid driver's license, but thankfully the maximum for no valid and the maximum for assault are the same. So
I apologize. That got by me. Leave it to Ms. Karimi to point out my faults.
I am happy to review them in advance. Well, Mr. Stewart signed it, so he also missed it too. Everything looks fine other than that, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Miller, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea in absentia?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept the plea in absentia, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in the defendant's best interest, adjudicate guilty to the amended charge of assault, impose all court costs, including costs of prosecution and cost of investigation to the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $200.50, and I'll give them 90 days to pay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller, you too. All right, let me go to Mr. Chandler. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. All right, looks like we're here on William Carl Kohut, case number 20 CT 2503.
Judge, I think that's a state's motion for medical records.
I believe it is too. All right, go ahead, Ms. Green.
Your Honor, on December 14th, 2020, an officer with the Florida Highway Patrol saw the defendant sitting behind the wheel of a car with the keys in the ignition. He smelled of an odor of alcohol. When the defendant stepped out of the car, he had urinated on himself, and he was walking to the front of the car, but holding on to the vehicle the entire time, which is what the trooper observed and put in his police report. He had tried to administer field sobriety exercises, but he was unable to follow the instructions for the HGN exercise. And at that point, the trooper decided it was too dangerous to continue with field sobriety exercises for fear that the defendant would fall or walk into oncoming traffic on the interstate. They had EMS respond, and they also transported him to Physicians Regional Hospital. And after he was released from the hospital, he provided breath samples of a 0.233 and a 0.243. So as the court knows, the standard is relevancy, and the state has met its burden. We'd ask the court to grant its motion.
All right, Mr. Chandler.
Judge, my only problem, and I'll tell you what I told Ms. Bonilla, if you'd send me the actual subpoena and let me take a look at it, I might not have a good faith basis to object. Her comment to me was, I don't prepare that, our legal department does. which I found really interesting since I figured the state attorney's office is the legal department. So my problem here is they did not attach a copy of the actual subpoena that they wanted to send out. Had they done that, we probably wouldn't be sitting here if I would have been able to approve the language. I probably would have said I don't have a good faith basis to object. So the reason I want to ask the court to deny this motion is because they did not attach a subpoena. I don't have an opportunity to review the language. Typically, when I've seen third-party subpoena requests, there's a subpoena attached for the other side to approve or for the court to approve. Here, they've provided no actual subpoena that they intend to send out. So, you know, it's one of those situations where they can refile the motion and we can rehear it. But as of now, I would ask the court to deny it because they haven't provided either one of us with a subpoena. There was none attached to their motion. I don't know what they're going to send out.
Ms. Creamy?
Judge, that I recognize Mr. Chandler's concerns. It's not our normal practice to attach the subpoena. However, the subpoena will mirror the language that's in paragraph 2 of the motion, and it will also mirror the language of the order that I would provide to the court. And I am certainly happy to send the order to Mr. Chandler in advance prior to sending it to you to sign. But it's essentially going to mirror paragraph 2 of our motion. Our investigations department is the department who makes the subpoenas, and they make the subpoenas and prepare them after the court has signed the order.
So long as the language mirrors paragraph 2, I don't have an objection. My issue is paragraph 4, where it talks about communication. I told Ms. Bonilla this.
Yes, I'm sorry. And paragraph 4. I apologize to interrupt you, but yes, that as well.
My problem with paragraph 4 is it says communication with the medical professionals named within the medical records is also necessary to obtain information relevant to the investigation. So essentially what that would do is give the government unfettered access to any medical professional named in the medical records. So if my client says, here's my regular physician, he's named in the medical records, does that now give them unfettered access to all of his records and to contact him and ask him confidential information? So I'm just concerned with the language that's going to go into this.
Well, what if we said communication with treating medical professionals?
As long as it was the treating medical professionals on that evening, not his other doctors, not his,
Ms. Creamy, would the state agree with that? I don't know why any other medical professionals other than those treating him at the day of the incident or the night of the incident would be relevant.
I agree. I just don't want a subpoena that has very ambiguous language, being issued to a state attorney investigator for the state attorney's office to have access to other records of my clients.
So what the language that we put on our orders say is to discuss and communicate with all medical professionals contained in said medical records or documents. That's how it normally reads. And the reason we include that is because there have been times in the past where an emergency room doctor, we've attempted to speak to them regarding what was in the records that we were given pursuant to the subpoena, and they refused to speak to us without a court order. So this eliminates our need to come back and ask for another court order. It's essentially a way to streamline the process. It's for judicial economy purposes. The medical records that I've seen say, some have said, yes, follow up with your primary care physician. It's pretty rare that they include a primary care physician. Some say you need to follow up with this doctor to go get this treatment. But yes, it's really for our sake, it's really the doctors that were dealing with him the night of the incident. And that's what the subpoena is limited for. It's for the date of the treatment on or about, whatever the date of the crime is through the date of the discharge.
That's fine. I'm just asking that it be limited. And I know Ms. Creamy's representing that. I just asking that in writing it be limited to that. And as I said, I mean, had they provided a subpoena, we may not even be here wasting the court's time. Because
Right.
I'm not arguing that it's not relevant. I don't think I have a good faith basis to do that. My only objection is I haven't seen the subpoena that's going out.
All right. I'm going to grant the state's motion limited to the treatment on or about December 14th until the date of discharge to those attending or treating the defendant.
Wait, I'm sorry, Judge, the communications are limited to those attending or treating the defendant that night.
Correct.
But also we get the
reports, yes.
okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So communications with all attending and treating professionals that date. Okay, I will prepare the order and I'll send it to Mr. Chandler prior to sending it to your JA.
Okay,
That's
very
fine.
good.
All right.
All right, anything else we need to address?
Yes, sir. Oh, we do. This was also the continued pretrial conference.
All right.
That
So it
was-
looks like we need to continue it to the next pretrial.
The 31st of this month or the next one, which is May 5th?
Want to go to March 31st, or do you want to go to the following?
If we could go to my March 31st, I'm with Judge Monuleach half the day. If we could go to the May 5th.
Any objection to that? Obviously, if there's information in the medical records that may be required depositions, that would give plenty of time to file a motion and get those done.
Sure. I would just
That's
ask
fine,
if the
Judge.
state,
All right.
I would ask if the state gets those medical records. Obviously, I believe they'd produce those in discovery.
Okay.
Yes, they just take time to get. That's the only caveat.
All right. Okay, let's go to May 5th at 9 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chandler.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too. All right.
Can you give us some time in between? We'll come back.
Okay. Will you let me know when they're ready? Are they ready now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, let's do, Ms. Woodley, let's go ahead and recall Mr. Gutierrez.
We're recalling Gutierrez, Your Honor.
Yes, case number 20 CT 1514.
I was just looking at his driving record, and I didn't have an opportunity to finish. Do you see if this is supposed to be a third or more? I apologize for asking you this on the record. I'm not interested in record.
Is she asking me, Your Honor, or is she asking the court? I can't hear her.
What was your question, Ms. Woodley?
This is supposed to be a third.
It's charged as a third or subsequent.
I'm just looking at his driving record. And I don't believe it's supposed to be.
It's on page 4 of his driving record. The prior convictions are from July 2004 and June 2008.
I see that.
He would like to accept the terms of the offer.
Can you put those on the record again?
It's going to be, so again, 2015-1514, terms are an adjudication of guilt, 10 days jail, or cost for prosecution and public defense.
All right. So were you in the courtroom and previously sworn?
Yes, sir.
All right. Will you state your name
And belongs to the judge.
and your date of birth?
11/27/1964.
And sir, did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney?
Yes, sir.
And did you have any questions about them?
No, sir.
You understand that you'll be going into custody today?
Yes, sir.
Are you entering a plea of guilty or no contest? I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No,
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
sir.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice?
Yes, sir.
Has she done everything that you've requested?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that driving while license suspended or revoked is an enhanceable offense, meaning if you're charged and convicted of this crime in the future, you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, or a possible felony conviction?
Yes, sir.
Do you also understand that because you're being adjudicated guilty of this offense, the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles can use that against you to habitualize you or to suspend your driving privilege for up to 5 years?
Yes, sir.
And knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Karimi, any additional questions?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Woodley, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea? All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 10 days jail with credit for time served, impose all court costs, including cost of prosecution and public defender fees. I'll remand you to the custody of the sheriff's office at this time. You'll step over here to be fingerprinted.
Please call next. Jasper Hurd from SM.
I'm sorry, Judge, I couldn't hear the name.
Jasper Hurd, HURD 20
Thank you.
To be withdrawing his previous plea of not guilty, entering a plea of no contest to the following agreed upon terms. For count 1 to the trespass, this is going to be a withhold of adjudication. No trespass at 580 County Road 858 Naples, Florida.
Can you slow down?
Sorry, and you, trespassing address again.
5830
Okay.
County Road 858 Naples. Zip code is 34120. Court costs, cost of prosecution, public defender fees.
Okay.
And then for count 2, a withhold of adjudication and all composite costs, including.
No. On count 2, it's a withhold 3 months of probation, anger management, court costs, cost of prosecution. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong note. You're right. Withhold and court costs. I apologize.
Withhold court costs.
That is what I was told that I was going to do.
Ms. Creamy, what do you have in your notes?
On count 2, I was looking at the wrong note. So on count 2, it's a withhold and composite cost, like you stated.
So no probation,
No probation, I'm sorry.
and no restitution?
No, Your Honor, the note that I'm reading states that the defendant already paid for it.
Okay. So were you in the courtroom and previously sworn? All right, will you state your name and your date of birth? Did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney as well as the state? Do you have any questions about it? Ms. Woodley?
If you can have 90 days to pay the court costs.
Any additional questions? Do you want to accept the offer? Are you pleading guilty or no contest? I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you. Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form? And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today? Do Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice? Have they done everything that you've requested?
Criminal mischief is enhanceable.
All right, thank you. You understand that criminal mischief is an enhanceable offense, meaning you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, or a possible felony offense in the future if charged and convicted of this crime. Knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea? Any additional questions, Ms. Karini?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Woodley, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis for the plea? All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest. On count one, I'll withhold adjudication, impose all court costs, including costs of prosecution and public defender fees, give you 90 days to pay those costs. If you need more time than that, you'll have to work out a payment arrangement with the clerk prior to the end of 90 days. I'm going to order that you not trespass at 5830 County Road 858 in Naples, Florida. And on count two, I'll withhold adjudication and impose composite costs. And have you step right over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, sir.
Timothy Hayes, 2022-1409. Ms. Green, is the 10 for Timothy Hayes, 2022-1409, is the 10 days is weekend work?
No, it has to be straight time because it's second within 5. The law requires it to be straight time or weekend lockdown.
Does anyone know if the weekend lockdowns they report on Friday or Saturday morning?
They're Friday at 6 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. That's weekend lockdown.
Thank you. You can withdraw his previous plea of not guilty, entering a plea of no contest to the following agreed upon terms. It's going to be an adjudication of guilt, $1,000 fine, 10 days of weekend work credit all time served.
You said we can work?
Weekend lockdown, I apologize. I misspoke. Weekend lockdown, 10 days.
That would be a condition of his 12 months of probation.
Okay.
With credit for time served.
Yes, Your Honor. Early terminate at 8 months, if everything's complete.
Well, what's 12 months probation?
12 months probation. Five-year driver's license suspension. No objection by the court if you can obtain a hardship if the DMV deems him fit. Appropriate DUI school. 30-day vehicle impound. 1-year ignition interlock. Substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendation with random testing. Victim impact count. 50 community service hours with the option to buy them out. Court costs, cost of prosecution, public defender fees.
No alcohol?
Yes, Judge, that was an oversight, but the state would ask to include no alcohol clauses. Oh, actually, you know what, Judge? This was a drunk DUI.
It's what?
That's probably why it wasn't added.
So we don't need to include no alcohol?
I'm not gonna ask for it.
All right,
It was a what?
drug DUI.
Oh, so we take out the alcohol? Okay.
right, sir, were you in the courtroom and previously sworn?
Yes, sir.
All right, will you state your name
Timothy A. Duran,
and your date of birth?
May 28, 1992.
And sir, did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney? Do you have any questions about those terms? Do you want to accept the offer?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No contest.
Ms. Woodley, do you have a plea form?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, sir, I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you. Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form? And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today? You understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice? Has she done everything that you've requested? Do you understand that DUI is an enhanceable offense, meaning if you're charged and convicted of this crime in the future, you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, longer loss of a driver's license, or a possible felony conviction? And knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea? Any additional questions, Ms. Karimi?
Judge, I hope he understands that the DMV may not give him a hardship.
All right, do you understand that? And knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea? Any other questions, Ms. Karimi?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Ms. Woodley, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis for the plea? All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudicate you guilty, impose a fine of $1,000 plus all court costs, including cost of prosecution and public defender fees. As a condition of probation, or I'm going to place you on probation for a period of 12 months. You may apply for early termination after serving 8 months, provided all conditions have been satisfactorily met. As a condition of probation, you must serve 10 days jail with credit for time served. That may be done on the weekend lockdown program or straight time. There will be a 5-year driver's license revocation. The court has no objection to a hardship license pursuant to DHSMV rules. You must complete the appropriate DUI school, a 30-day vehicle impoundment, a 1-year ignition interlock, 1 victim impact panel, 50 hours of community service, which you may buy out at the rate of $10 per hour. You must undergo a substance abuse evaluation and follow all recommendations. You'll be subject to random testing at your own expense. You'll need to check in with probation today. It's located here on the first floor before you leave the courthouse. And have you step over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, sir. Good luck. All right, give me a moment to review that.
Next.
Ms. Woodley, if you could give us a moment. Will you put next to weekend lockdown, will you put or straight time, or is that on there?
I added that, I just didn't want to enter it yet. See.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right, let me go to Mr. Give me one moment, let me switch. Give me a moment, Ms. Woodley.
Oh, thank you.
We go to Mr. Dunford on Zoom.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Your Honor, I have Mr. John Vincent DiPotetto, 20 CT 2572. This is a plaintiff absentia scheduled for Your Honor's docket today.
What was the last name of your client? I'm sorry.
DiPotetto. It might be under my partner's name, Scott Morey.
I've got it here. 20 CT 2572.
Correct, Your Honor. Mr. DiPotetto is going to be withdrawing his previous entered plea of not guilty and exchange of plea of no contest to driving under the influence under Florida Statute 316-193. In the plea in absentia, we've laid out the following terms: that he'd be adjudicated guilty. He'd be placed on 11 months, 29 days of county probation, which may terminate upon successful completion of all conditions met, no violations after 9 months. A $500 fine subject to any surcharge. A 10-day vehicular impound, which does not have an exception to apply. So he will be doing it. Attend and complete a substance abuse evaluation following the recommended course for treatment. Attend and complete DUI school, appropriate phase, and follow any recommendations for treatment. Attend and complete the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Victim Impact Panel or the uimpact.com online course. No possession of drugs or alcohol with random urine screens. Stay away from bars, saloons, taverns, or box liquor stores, except may frequent such establishments and possess alcohol if for work purposes only. 50 hours of community service or buyout at the rate of $10 per hour. A 9-month driver's license suspension. May obtain hardship should the DMV say he qualifies. There's court costs per schedule and cost of prosecution.
All right. Ms. Creamy, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Ms. Creamy, have you had an opportunity to review the plea in absentia forms?
I'm sorry, yes, Judge. I apologize.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Dunford, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea in absentia?
So stipulated, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept the plea in absentia, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in the defendant's best interest. Adjudicate guilty. Place the defendant on probation for a period of 11 months and 29 days. May apply for early termination upon the successful completion of all conditions after 9 months. Impose a $500 fine, a 10-day vehicle impoundment. Must complete a substance abuse evaluation and follow our recommendations, subject to random testing at their own expense. Complete the appropriate DUI school, 1 victim impact panel. There will be a no possession or consumption of alcohol provision. That means they cannot consume alcohol. They cannot have alcohol in their residence. They cannot go anywhere that primarily sells alcohol, such as bars, taverns, saloons, or packaged liquor stores. The court will allow a work purposes exception to that. 50 hours of community service, or may buy out the community service at the rate of $10 per hour. There would be a 9-month driver's license revocation. The court has no objection to obtaining a hardship license pursuant to DHS-MV rules. All court costs, including costs of prosecution, shall be imposed. The defendant will need to check in with probation within 24 hours.
Thank you very much, Judge.
All right, did I miss anything, Ms. Karimi?
Judge, it's Friday. You can't check in within 24 hours unless he does.
24 hours, certain days, how's that? He needs to check in.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. I'll be in touch with him immediately after this, Judge, to have him get in touch with the probation.
All right, very good.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Give me one
Have a good
moment.
week.
Thank you, you too. Did you get the exception for the alcohol restrictions for work purposes?
Oh, okay.
good. All right, let me go to Ms. Woodley, are you ready?
Joshua Hinman and 20 mm 1985.
That was 20 mm 1985, Ms. Greeny.
Thank you.
He's going to be withdrawing his previous plea of not guilty for a plea of no contest to the following agreed upon terms. This is going to be an adjudication of guilt, 12 months of probation, may early terminate at 9 months, and as a special condition of probation, 25 hours, or the condition of probation, 25 hours of community service, anger management, no contact with the victim, court costs, cost of prosecution, and public defender fees.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So were you in the courtroom and previously sworn? Will you state your name? And Mr. Hinman, what's your date of birth?
November 26, 1975.
And did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney?
Other than, I heard the terms, but I didn't realize it was like maybe search, but I still accept them.
Okay, do you need an opportunity to speak with your attorney before going forward? Do you need some additional time, or are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, do you have any other questions?
No, it's just what you got to make sense of it, that's all.
Okay, do you want to accept the offer?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No contest.
Is this your signature on this form?
Yes, Your Honor.
And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you? Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form?
Yes.
And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today?
Yes.
Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
Are you suffering from any mental illness? Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice?
Yes.
Have they done everything that you've requested?
Yes.
Do you understand that battery is an enhanceable offense, meaning if you're charged and convicted of this crime in the future, you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, or a possible felony conviction?
Yes.
Knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea? Any additional questions, Ms. Green?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Woodley, we stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea. All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudicate you guilty, place you on probation for a period of 12 months. You may apply for early termination after serving 9 months, provided all conditions have been satisfactorily met. Those conditions include completing 25 hours of community service, successfully entering and completing an anger management program, no contact with the victim. All court costs, including cost of prosecution and public defender fees, would be imposed. You'll need to check in with probation today before you leave the courthouse. It's located here on the first floor, and I'll have you step over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Ivan Moreno and Joseph, CT.
All right, give us a moment, Ms. Woodley. All right, what case are we on?
This is 20 CT 878, Ivan Lionel Mendoza.
Moreno Mendoza, right?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay.
20 CT 878. Okay,
He's going to be withdrawing his previous plea of not guilty, entering a plea of no contest to the following agreed upon terms. Union adjudication of guilt, $500 fine, 12 months of probation, early terminate at 6 months if all the terms are, all conditions are met, 12 months driver's license suspension. If there's no objections from the court, that we obtain a hardship if the DMV deems fit, DUI school appropriate days, substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations with random testing, no alcohol clause, 10-day vehicle impound, 50 hours community service, victim impact panel, court costs, cost of prosecution, other benefit fees.
is that correct, Ms. Creamy?
It was 12 months probation, no ET at 6 months.
Correct.
Okay, yes, Judge, that's correct.
All right. Sir, will you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Will you state your name?
Ivan Moreno,
Thank you, you can put your hand down. And your date of birth?
June 23rd, 1998.
Yes, sir, did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Do you want to accept it? Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No comment.
I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today? Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, Your Honor.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have they done everything that you've requested?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that DUI is an enhanceable offense, meaning if you're charged and convicted of this crime in the future, you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, or a possible felony conviction?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any additional questions, Ms. Karimi?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Woodley, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis for the plea? Right, sir, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudicate you guilty, place you on probation for a period of 12 months. You may apply for early termination after serving 6 months, provided all conditions have been satisfactorily met. Impose a fine of $500 plus all court costs, including costs of prosecution and public defender fees. There'll be a 12-month driver's license revocation. The court has no objection to you obtaining a hardship license. You must complete the appropriate DUI school, 1 victim impact panel, 10-day vehicle impoundment, 50 hours of community service. There would be a no alcohol provision. That means you cannot consume alcohol while you're on probation. You cannot have alcohol in a residence. You cannot go anywhere that primarily sells alcohol, such as bars, taverns, saloons, or packaged liquor stores. You must undergo a substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations, and you'll be subject to random testing at your own expense. You'll need to check in with probation today before you leave the courthouse. It's located here on the 1st floor. I'll have you step over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. All right, give me a moment to review that. Looks good. Right. Let me go to Ms. Fish.
Good morning, Attorney Monica Fish.
Good morning.
This is for Martin Adelcha, 20MM 959.
Okay.
It looks like our client was out of the country. He's back, but he's out of the state. I spoke with Mr. Cruz, and what we're going to do is we're going to drop off a check and get our client into diversion.
Okay.
Hopefully by Monday. I mean, maybe we could do it today, but I think the contract has to be created, and then we have to send it to our client to get signed. But for sure, we are going to do the diversion.
All right, Ms. Creamy.
Okay, Judge, I don't know what date you want to put it on. Maybe you're the one that you said March 31st, you had a pretrial?
I do.
And I guess if he's not in diversion by then I will ask for an in-person date.
All right, Ms. Fish.
That is fine.
All right, we'll continue it to March 31st at 9 o'clock. I'll mark this as final continuance.
Thank you.
All right. Any other cases today, Ms. Fish?
I don't believe so. All
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
right, you too. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Let me go to Mr. Russo. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge. I have a case of Yoann Landry Gonzalez Rodriguez, case number 20 CT 1818. This was scheduled for a motion to suppress at 10 a.m., but the state and I have resolved it, and there's a plea in absentia in the court file.
Okay. I do see the plea in absentia. It's
The state-
Gonzalez Rodriguez 20 CT 1818. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Russo.
The state is amending count 1 from DUI to reckless driving, and count 2 remains the same, and he'll be entering a plea to both the reckless driving and count 2, the refusal to submit, and it's all laid out in the plea in absentia there.
All right. And Ms. Green, do you have that? Do you need that statute number?
It's 316.192.
All right. And that would be an adjudication of guilt, a $25 fine, all court costs, including costs of prosecution. And on count 2, it would be an adjudication of guilt, 12 months probation, appropriate DUI school, substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations, subject to random testing, no alcohol provision. You've got no alcohol in the defendant's room.
That's right, Judge. That was an agreement between myself and Mr. Russo.
All right. So the no alcohol provision would be no consumption of alcohol, no going anywhere that primarily sells alcohol, no alcohol in the defendant's room. So don't put residence, just put room. Okay. And then all court costs and costs of prosecution. Probation may early terminate after 3 months, provided all conditions have been satisfactorily met.
And Judge, hey, I want to make sure Mr. Russo discussed with his client that we're not going to be moving forward with the motion to suppress because we're resolving this case, and that his client understood that.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right. You get everything?
Yes, the probation is only on count
2, correct. 12 months probation may early terminate after 3 upon completion of all conditions. All right. Ms. Creamy, have you had an opportunity to review the plea and absentia forms?
Yes, Judge, and I'm in agreement with it.
All right. Mr. Russo, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea and absentia?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll accept the plea in absentia, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in the defendant's best interest as to count 1, I'll adjudicate guilty to the amended charge of reckless driving, impose a $25 fine, all court costs, including costs of prosecution. And on count 2, I'll adjudicate guilty, place the defendant on probation for a period of 12 months, may early terminate after serving 3 months, provided all conditions have been satisfactorily met. Conditions of probation include completion of the appropriate DUI school, no alcohol in the defendant's room, no consumption of alcohol, no going anywhere that primarily sells alcohol, such as bars, taverns, saloons, or packaged liquor stores, undergo a substance abuse evaluation and follow all recommendations, subject to random testing at his own expense, and any composite costs on that count. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so, Judge.
Okay. All right. Mr. Russo, you could have your client check in with probation by Monday.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Russo?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, too.
Thank you. You'll have to expand it so I can see it. Something. Okay, looks good. Ms. Woodley?
The client that was working as well, I might be asking for a continuance for Ms. Armbruster because I think she was under the impression she was out of custody based on notes I'm looking at. I need to get some more information on this. If you can do this, I apologize.
I don't know what case we're on, Ms. Woodley.
This is for Mr. Young, and that case, this is Thomas Young, I'm sorry, not Thomas, Bradley Young, in 20MM1687.
Bradley Young, case number 20MM1687. Is that Mr. Young?
This is Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And what is this case set for?
This is set for a plea, but based on what I believe his attorney thought he was out of custody, and there's a felony case, I want to make sure that doesn't affect the felony case before he makes any decisions on this one.
Yeah, Judge, he just got arrested a week or two ago on a violation of state probation. This case is not the basis for the violation. But I do want to send over a new offer to the defense, and I just haven't had a chance to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just for an offer for the, we would have a contingency on that.
His bond was revoked in this MM case, so he is collecting credit.
Okay. All right. We'll continue it to April 1st at 9 o'clock. Mr. Young, we're going to continue your case to April 1st. They're going to try to work out an agreement, it sounds like, to resolve both your cases.
Today?
Not today. They'll call you back when they're ready, when they get that agreement in place.
Also means to April 1st, correct?
Not necessarily.
No, Mr. Young, Ms. Armstrong is going to set up a video visit to talk to you as soon as we get a new offer for you. It is
Okay.
Thank you. Report then.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Young. Thank you, Naples Jail.
What is on, what date, Judge? I'm sorry.
April 1st at 9 o'clock.
And is that for what type of court appearance?
Trial.
Thank you.
All right. Let me go to Ms. Roger. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, I have Jacob Lowell on the docket.
All right,
It was
22-168.
a little too ambitious on trying to get my plea in absentia back so quickly. Unfortunately, I don't have that. If I can put this on your 3/31 date, Judge, for a plea.
All right, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll continue it to March 31st at 9 o'clock for plea in absentia.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also have Yvonne Rivera, same request, 3/31 for a plea.
What was the name on that one?
Yvonne Rivera, case number 20-2434 CT.
Thank you. All right, any objection? I'm sorry, Ms. Creamy.
No, Your Honor.
All right. March 31st at 9 o'clock for a plea in absentia.
Thank you, Your Honor. And the last one I have before you this morning is a motion to waive vehicle impoundment and a motion to early terminate probation for Juan Lopez Garcia, case number 19-2788 CT. Your Honor, as to the motion to waive vehicle impoundment, my client has signed an affidavit to that effect, and I have forwarded an order to your assistant this morning for your consideration.
Right, I do see the affidavit in the court file. Ms. Karimi, what's the state's position on the motion to waive impoundment?
The state has no objection. Probation checked the DMV and it appears the defendant does not have any vehicles registered to him.
All right, and what's the state's position on the motion for early termination of probation?
So probation told me that once the vehicle impoundment is waived, all other conditions of probation have been completed, probation fees have been paid. They have no objection, we have no objection.
All right. All right, defense motion to waive impoundment is granted. Defense motion to early terminate probation is granted and probation is hereby terminated.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have proposed orders emailed to your assistant this morning, okay?
Very good, I'll check with
Great.
Julian when I get finished in court.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a nice day.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Roger, you too. Ms. Woodley, are you ready?
I am another Young, but this time Thomas Young, 20 CT 2326.
All right, very good.
He's going to be withdrawing his previous plea of not guilty and entering a plea of no contest to the following agreed upon terms. This is going to be an adjudication of guilt, $500 fine, 9 months of probation, 12 months of driver's license suspension. The court can put down that there's no objection to him obtaining a hardship at the DMV deems fit, appropriate DUI school, substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations, random testing. No alcohol clause, and a vehicle impound, 50 hours of community service, victim impact panel, court costs, cost of prosecution, and public defender fees.
Is that correct, Ms. Karimi?
Yes, Judge, but can I have a moment? I am trying to see why restitution wasn't.
Did you send our restitution?
She's checking on that.
Okay.
I have a hunch why. If we could order and reserve, Judge, that wasn't part of the plea agreement.
Would that be to the state?
Yes, according to the crash report,
The Department of Transportation?
yes.
All right, order and reserve to the Department of Transportation. Okay. Mr. Young, were you previously in the courtroom and sworn?
Yes.
All right, will you state your name for the record
Thomas Patrick Young,
and your date of birth?
11/03/1997.
And Mr. Young, did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about those terms?
The only thing was with the no alcohol clause. I currently work at a golf club that serves alcohol.
Within a plea that's no alcohol with the exception of work purposes.
Does the state have any objection to a work purposes exception?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, Mr. Young?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And you're charged with DUI, damage to person or property. Do you understand that the maximum sentence on that is 1 year in the county jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you want to accept the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No contest.
I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form?
Yes, Your Honor.
And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form?
Yes.
And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, Your Honor.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have they done everything that you've requested?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that DUI is an enhanceable offense, meaning if you're convicted of this crime in the future, you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, or a possible felony conviction?
Yes, Your Honor.
And knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any additional questions, Ms. Karimi?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Woodley, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea? All right, sir, I'll accept your plea. Find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest. Adjudicate you guilty, place you on probation for a period of 9 months, impose a $500 fine, all court costs, including cost of prosecution and public defender fees. There will be a 12-month driver's license revocation. The court has no objection to you obtaining a hardship license pursuant to DHSMV rules. You must complete the appropriate DUI school, a 10-day vehicle impoundment, 50 hours of community service, 1 victim impact panel. There would be a no alcohol provision. That means you cannot consume alcohol. You cannot have alcohol in your residence. You cannot go anywhere that primarily sells alcohol, such as bars, taverns, saloons, or packaged liquor stores. There will be a work purposes exception to that provision. You must undergo a substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations. You'll be subject to random testing at your own expense, and the court will order restitution to the Department of Transportation and reserve on the amount. You'll need to check in with probation today before you leave the courthouse. It's located here on the first floor. I'm gonna have you step over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, Mr. Young. Good luck to you. Ms. Woodley, do you need to speak with Mr. Garcia's mother with the interpreter?
No, I don't believe so.
I think it might be a good idea.
No, I think she has any questions.
Well,
Do we want to do this? Should we expect 2 more seats for jury on the court?
I've got some more people in Zoom if you want to speak to Ms. Garcia, and I'll handle a couple of people on Zoom.
All right, sounds good.
If you could just step out in the gallery. Looks good. All right, let me go to Mr. Levy. Good morning.
Morning, Judge. One case this morning, Blenner and Mahetme. This is case 2020 CT 1841. Judge, this is a negotiated resolution with a plea in absentia, the terms of which the state has agreed to null pros count 1, which is the driving while license suspended or revoked. And on count 2, it's a willful and wanton reckless driving. Adjudication will be withheld, 12 months of county probation, 12-hour driver advanced driver improvement course, 50 hours of community service, court costs, cost of prosecution, and a $25 fine. Count 3 is leaving the scene of a crash, attendant property, adjudication, composite costs. Excuse me, a withhold of adjudication and composite costs on count 3.
Okay.
Judge, I'm sorry, and I didn't catch this yesterday when I reviewed the plea in absentia, and I'm sure Mr. Levy's not going to have an objection to what I'm about to say, but this isn't a DUI pled down to a reckless, so I think it's just a straight reckless, so I think the maximum probation we can do is 6 months.
I don't have an objection. I believe that is correct.
I believe that's correct too.
I'm not sure why I didn't catch that for some reason.
All right, so the state's gonna null pros count 1, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Count 2 would be a withhold of adjudication, 6 months of probation, a 12-hour advanced driver improvement course, 50 hours of community service, or alternatively, 6 days of weekend work program.
Judge, I'm sorry to interrupt. I am okay with that. My understanding after having conversations with other attorneys in my office, the or provision makes a lot of work for the Naples jail. It's going to trigger some kind of work order or something like that the defendant will have to, I don't even know if he has to do anything about it, but it's going to generate something for the Naples jail to make them aware of the potential weekend work program. I've spoken with my client. He wants to do the community service. I'm okay with the or. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for everybody else.
Ms. Creamy?
Yes, if he wants to do community service, then we don't need to include the weekend work part.
All right,
that's correct, yeah.
Just 50 hours of community service, no jail.
We really botched this one.
Well, it seems to be getting better and better for Mr. Levy's client, so there's no objection. All court costs, including costs of prosecution. And then on count 3, it's an withhold of adjudication and composite costs.
That's correct.
Do we get the $25 fine on count 2? That's statutory.
All right, $25 fine on count 2. Any objection to that, Mr. Levy? You don't really have a choice.
No, Mr. Creamy made me aware of it previously, and for whatever reason, it was not included.
All right. Any objection to the plea in absentia forms?
No, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Levy, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea in absentia?
Yep, yes.
All right, I'll accept the plea in absentia, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in the defendant's best interest. On count 2, I'll withhold adjudication, place the defendant on probation for a period of 6 months. As a condition of probation, the defendant must complete 12-hour advanced driver improvement course, 50 hours of community service. A $25 fine would be imposed, all court costs, including costs of prosecution. On count 3, I'll withhold adjudication and order composite costs. And Ms. Creamy, do you have an announcement on count 1?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would announce a null pros on count 1 for 20 CT 1841.
All right. Let me just review that. Looks good. All right, thank you, Mr. Levy.
Judge, can I just ask for my client till Monday at 5 p.m. to check into probation.
All right, defendant to check in by Monday at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right. Thank you, Mr. Levy. Okay. Great. We're going to take a 5-minute recess here. We'll be right back.
Okay, Judge.
No.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right. Ms. Woodley, are you ready to proceed?
I am. If you can recall Daniel Garcia, 2018, P149, and his mom is the company with him because he is a minor, 17.
All right.
And then his mom requires a visa expansion for.
Very good. All right. You want to put the terms of the agreement on the record again?
Sure. This is an adjudication of guilt. $1,000 fine. Court costs, cost of prosecution, public defender fees. 12 months of probation. No early termination for 6 months. 12 months driver's license suspension. No objection from the court if he obtains a hardship license in the end for leave if deemed fit. Appropriate DUI school. Substance abuse evaluation, follow-up recommendation with random testing. No alcohol clause. 10-day vehicle impound. 75 hours of community service. And they've done no buyout. What? No buyout for community service hours. Victim impact panel. With the no alcohol, can it be for his room since he does live with his parents?
Ms. Karimi.
That's fine. He's a minor. He shouldn't be having alcohol anyways.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Judge, was probation 12 months, no early termination for 6 months?
Correct.
Okay.
Is the state not requiring the youthful drunk driver visitation program?
I am not aware of that program, Judge. Sorry.
Never heard of it.
322.0602.
322, I'm sorry.
0.002. I'm sorry, 0.0602. Let me just get that.
Says the court may. I don't know that that's a program we have in this area. I would have to talk to probation.
I'm not seeing it on Southwest Florida where most of the courses are available.
Seems, Judge, it's like a program you would go visit facilities, like ER trauma centers, coroner's offices. With COVID, that might not be feasible either.
I'm already doing 75 hours of community service.
Give me a moment to review the booking report. Well, based on Mr. Garcia's age at the time of the incident and the fact that another vehicle was involved in a crash, I think I'd like to get more information from the state regarding the Youthful Drunk Driver Visitation Program and its availability in our jurisdiction before I entertain the plea.
Okay, Judge, I will look into that.
Okay. And then if whatever you find, if you could share with Ms. Woodley, and then we'll revisit this again on another date.
And just for the record, he had done the DUI school. DUI is not himself are going to be quite expensive. But whatever you want to do, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's continue this to March 30th at 9 o'clock for a plea. Mr. Garcia, do you have any questions? Mom, do you have any questions? Okay, all right, well, I'll let Ms. Woodley speak to both of you regarding the court's decision here today. Okay, March 30th at 9 o'clock for a plea. Ms. Karimi, if you could have that information by that date in order to advise the court.
Yes, Judge, I will do my best.
Okay, all right. Mr. Garcia, and we'll have you and your mother sign for that, okay? All right, we'll see you back then. All right, let me go to Ms. Woodley. Are you ready for another client in the courtroom?
Mr. Lopez is 20 MM 1877. He's going to be entering a plea for all agreed upon terms, which is an adjudication of guilt. 6 months probation, substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendation with random testing, court costs, cost of prosecution, and public defender fees.
Judge, there is no early termination on probation.
Oh, correct. Did not consider.
Adjudication of guilt, 6 months probation, no early termination, substance abuse evaluation, follow recommendations, random testing, all costs, PD fees, cost of prosecution. All right, Mr. Lopez, were you in the courtroom and previously sworn?
Yes, sir.
All right, will you state your name for the record and your date of birth?
January 31st, 1991.
And Mr. Lopez, did you hear the terms of the agreement placed on the record by your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any questions about those terms? Do you want to accept them? And you heard that the probation would be no early termination? All right. Did you have any questions about that? All right. Are you pleading guilty or no contest? I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you. Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form? Can you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today? Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice? Have they done everything that you've requested? Any additional questions, Ms. Karimi?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Woodley, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea?
No stipulation.
All right, Mr. Lopez, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudicate you guilty, place you on probation for a period of 6 months with no early termination. You must undergo a substance abuse evaluation and follow all recommendations. You'll be subject to random testing at your own expense. All court costs, including costs of prosecution and public defender fees, will be imposed. You'll need to check in with probation today before you leave the courthouse. It's located here on the first floor. I'll have you step over here to be fingerprinted. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Miguel Martinez, 20 CT 027.
Two case numbers.
It is 20 CT 2372.
And 20 CT 2358.
This is just for the driving suspended license. They're being amended down to no valid driver's license.
Ms. Woodley, he's got two cases.
Ms. Creamy, are you dropping one of them? I have an offer that's amending down to no valid driver's license. Adjudication guilt, $150 fine, deposit cost.
I'm gonna need a minute to take a look.
All right, it looks like the public defender is not on case number 20 CT 2358. It's
It looks like his first name in that has a Q instead of a G. But the date of birth seems to match.
What's your first name?
Miguel Martinez.
Miguel?
Well, I've always spelled it with a G. Recently, within a couple of years, they they started doing new birth certificates or something like that, and they came up with a Q, which I guess my mom had studied. Either she studied wrong or she was probably on some medication stuff that she studied, but it was supposed to be good with Q.
What's your date of birth?
2/20/83. The opposite in the courtroom's always been going with Miguel, but now, this is the change, I'm going with Miguel.
Same driver's license number also, Ms. Karimi.
Yes, Judge, and it looks like the DMV has it as a Q.
So change the G to a Q?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Martinez, in case number 20 CT 2358, you're not currently represented by the public defender. Do you want me to make a temporary appointment today in that case? All right, I'll make a temporary appointment of the public defender in case number 20 CT 2358.
Ms. Creamy, do you have an offer, or would you include 20 CT 2358 if he was prepared to enter into the plea for the no valid driver's license and 20 CT 2372?
I'm not sure to pay all my tickets and stuff, but.
Judge, if he resolves 2372, the state would drop the 2358 case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so what is the offer then in 20 CT 2372?
Judge, we would amend the charge to no valid driver's license. It would be an adjudication of guilt, $150 fine plus all costs.
Mr. Martinez, were you in the courtroom and previously sworn? Will you state your name for the record again and your date of birth?
February 20, 1983.
Did you hear the offer to resolve case number 20 CT 2372? Do you have any questions about that offer? Do you want to accept it? Are you pleading guilty or no contest? Is this your signature on this form? By signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you. Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form? And you understand that you're waiving your rights by entering your plea today? Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice? Has she done everything that you've requested? Any additional questions, Ms. Karimi?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, I'll accept, or Ms. Woodley, let me ask you, we stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea.
So stipulated to, and if you have 90 days in the court, I'm not sure if they acted or not.
Okay. All right, sir, I'll accept your plea, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest. In case number 20 CT 2372, I'll adjudicate you guilty to the amended offense of driving without a valid license, impose a $150 fine, all court costs, including costs of prosecution and public defender fees, and give you 90 days to pay. Ms. Karimi, do you have an announcement for 20 CT 2358?
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page. Yes, Your Honor, the state announces a null pros in 20 CT 2358.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir, we're going to have you step over here to be fingerprinted. The count, that should be amended to no valid driver's license.
Didn't do it. It says case based. Didn't do it. Okay. Let me go back out.
You've got the null pros on the wrong one.
No.
The null pros should be on 2358. There we go. Let me go to Mr. McGann on Zoom.
Hello, Judge. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well. I got 2 cases, and they're both plea in absentia documents.
Okay.
First case is Aguila, A-G-U-I-L-A, 20 CT 696. And that's a attached tag, not assigned. We did get the plea in absentia filed. The terms, I believe, are withhold and all costs.
All right. Is that correct, Ms. Creamy?
Yes, Judge, those are the terms, withhold and all costs.
Okay.
Adjudication and court order.
It was withhold and all costs and cost of prosecution. All right. Ms. Karimi, have you had an opportunity to review the plea in absentia forms?
I'm taking a look now, Judge. Oh, there it is. Yes, Judge, it looks appropriate.
Okay. Mr. McGann, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea in absentia?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll accept the plea in absentia, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered on a factual basis and in the defendant's best interest, withhold adjudication, and impose all court costs, including costs of prosecution. Does your client need some time to pay?
We just asked for 90 days.
All right, 90 days to pay.
The next case, when everyone's ready, the last name is Gonzalez.
Hang on one second. Mr. McGann, there was a civil ticket consolidated with that case. What do you want to do with that?
We'd request a merge and dismissal if possible.
All right. Any objection?
We don't have any position, Judge.
All right. The civil citation will be merged and dismissed. All right. Very good. Thank you. All right. And your second case, Mr. McGann?
Last name Gonzalez, 20 CT 1000.
Okay.
And that's also a plea in absentia document. I believe the charge is no valid driver's license, and the terms are an adjudication, $100 fine and all costs.
All right. And there's also a civil penalty that was consolidated in that case.
Correct. So we would be requesting merge and dismiss if possible.
All right. All right. Were those terms correct, Ms. Karimi?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Have you had an opportunity to review the plea in absentia forms?
Yes, Your Honor. Everything appears accurate.
All right. Mr. McGann, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea in absentia?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept the plea in absentia, find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in the defendant's best interest, adjudicate guilty, impose a $100 fine plus all court costs, including costs of prosecution, give them 90 days to pay, and order the civil penalty be merged and dismissed. All right, anything else, Mr. McGann?
No, just the cases I have on Monday. The one that I took over Dume, I did let your judicial assistant know that I was canceling the hearing, so there's no motion in limine hearing.
Okay.
And then I'll file a written motion to continue, so that way I could get the discovery and whatnot. But other than that, there's nothing further from me.
All right, if you want to file a stipulated motion to continue so that it's not on the docket on Monday, try to get that in today.
Yes, sir. We'll get on that right now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. McGann, you'll probably want to send that to me because all the other attorneys that are working that case are busy right now and all day.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll get on that. Thank you for letting me know, Ms. Creamy.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Right, and then I've got someone else on the Zoom call appearing via phone. Is there someone there on the line 786-314-6588?
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor. This is George Delamar on behalf of Emmanuel Vasquez Perez,
All right.
20 CT 1904.
All right.
Your
Go
Honor,
ahead.
on two previous occasions, defendant had not shown up to the scheduled hearings. I had asked Your Honor respectfully if I can withdraw. Your Honor instructed me to file a motion to withdraw, which I have. And that's the purpose of today's hearing.
All right. And it looks like the bench warrant that was issued has not been executed, and Mr. Vasquez Perez is not present. Any objection, Ms. Karimi?
The state has no position on that motion.
All right. All right, the motion to withdraw is granted. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I already have a proposed order from you, and I'll go ahead and sign that and enter that today.
Thank you, Judge. You have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Ms. Woodley?
I've got a couple left on the docket. Contreras 20MM1230. He is set for competency hearing this morning. I do have an order finding him competent to proceed. I've met with him, and Dr. Murray also did an evaluation about over a month ago and found that he was competent. So I'm asking you to rely on his findings that were disclosed to you about a month ago. I think I can approach the order.
You may.
Judge, I couldn't really hear her. Could you tell me what the order says, or?
It says order finding defendant competent to proceed. The determination of competency was made by Dr. McMurray after consideration of the entirety of defendant's mental health history and the defendant's capacity to meet the criteria laid out under 916.123A through F and or 916.30123A through F. These findings have been detailed and specifically included in the report, and that the report has been stipulated to being admitted to by both the state and defense, that after the reviewing and contents of the report, the court is satisfied the defendant does not meet or does meet the statutory requirement for competency.
I have no objection to that.
All right. All right. Court will sign the order finding defendant competent to proceed.
Our over him is
Okay. Do we need to set this for a pretrial conference? I don't see that it's set for anything right now.
Probably gonna have to get on set for a motion for ROR because he is in custody. I'm just trying to get him a house, either St. Matthews or living arrangement so that the business stay while he's doing mental health work.
All right, so we'll continue to attend to the next pretrial.
That's fine.
Any objection?
I didn't hear the request, Judge. I'm sorry.
Well, she said something about filing a motion for ROR, but that hasn't been filed yet.
I'm still trying to find housing for him.
She's trying to find housing for him.
Okay, well, the mental health court treatment team can assist with that, but I have no objection to a pretrial.
Okay. All right, so we'll continue it to April 1st at 9 o'clock for pretrial.
There's a couple other cases from the beginning of the docket. Hector Fontanez Alvarado in 20MM 685. I see this is a mandatory court appearance. I don't have any representation for him.
All right. You've not had any contact, your office hasn't had any contact with him?
No, unfortunately.
All right, what would the state like to do?
State's requesting a bench warrant. This case has been pending for almost a year, Judge.
Right. Right. Bench warrant, $2,000 bond. Okay.
checking to see if I have anybody else on the document in this.
I'm showing two more.
Oh, I'm sorry, Caston Fall in 20 mm 1567 had a mandatory court appearance, and our investigator was unable to make contact with him. I don't have our information.
All right, what would the state like to do?
The state would request a bench warrant. Looks like his original bond was $2,000.
Right. Bench warrant, $4,000 bond.
And then the last one, William Welker in 20 mm 2090. We are unable to locate him.
State's request.
Okay, 1 minute. Oh, this was the one. Okay. No, this is the one.
I don't think he's not in our custody.
Wait, is this the one that was in Hendry County custody?
I think so.
I don't think I got a link to Hendry's jail on my.
His ROR for diversion. Originally.
He's not coming up in Hendry County. The state would request a bench warrant, Judge. His bond before Judge Nicola ROR'd him was $2,000.
All right.
He is older and with no criminal history. If this one can be ROR just based on the lack of criminal history and uncertainty on this one.
He's already been ROR'd.
$500 bond, a little bit less.
Bench warrant, $2,000 bond. All right, and I believe that completes your cases, Ms. Woodley. All right, thank you, Ms. Woodley. All right, let me go to Zoom. I've got Ms. Cabreja.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. And do we know if we can get Mr. Lewis in the Immokalee jail? All right, we're going to try to get him on the Polycom.
You're gonna need an interpreter for him?
Yes, we have Max present. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Thanks, you too. Good morning, Immokalee Jail. Do we have Harold Lewis present? Good morning, Mr. Lewis.
Bonjour, Monsieur Louis. Good morning, sir.
All right, this is case number 20 CT 1927. All right, I have Ms. Cabreja here on a motion to withdraw as attorney of record.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may. Just
Okay.
remember we're using an interpreter.
Okay, thank you for the reminder. Your Honor, Mr. Barrett, Mr. Edon Barrett from the Barrett Law Group was retained by Mr. Lewis's family.
Your Honor, I interpreted this in deal,
Can we turn the volume down on that a little bit? There's a lot of background noise. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Barrett was retained by Mr. Lewis's family, I believe his girlfriend, on as I mentioned to Your Honor a few weeks ago when I appeared in front of you on the defendant's motion for R&R, and we believe that those challenges are impacting our ability to effectively represent the defendant. With the family, we've made some arrangements with the family with their financial hardships so that they can go on and, so that he can.
With financial difficulties here.
Ms. Cabrera, your microphone keeps cutting out. So
I'm sorry. I'm having
heard financial hardship.
Yes. As I was saying, yes. So the family has represented financial hardships that we've kind of worked out an arrangement with them in order to assist them. But unfortunately, those arrangements would also entail us having to withdraw from the case.
Ms. Cabrera, if you could break it up, because the interpreter is having a hard time keeping up with you and interpreting. And so when he interprets, he can't hear what you're continuing to say. If you could just, put some pauses in there for us.
Absolutely. Would you like me to start over?
Yeah, go back to the financial hardships.
Okay. Mr. Lewis and his family have some financial hardships that prevent us from continuing with representation in this matter. And
you should stop.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, someone told me to stop, so I'm not.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yes. So we are seeking to withdraw. We're having part of what's happening here is also his continued incarceration. We've been present. We've arranged. We've made an arrangement with the family that would potentially assist in having him released from jail. And we believe that it's in his best interest to find local representation. And there's other reasons, Your Honor, which if I go into, I'm disclosing some attorney-client privileged communication, but I provide. I provided you with the gist of our basis for the motion today.
Right. Mr. Lewis, do you understand that your attorney is requesting that they be withdrawn as counsel of record?
Yes.
All right. And do you have any objection to that?
No.
All right. Does the state have any position?
No, Your Honor.
All right. The motion to withdraw as attorney of record is granted. Ms. Cabrera, if you haven't already, could you send an order to my judicial assistant? All right. And Mr. Lewis, do you intend on hiring new counsel? Or do you need to apply for the public defender?
Yes.
The public defender?
Donc, vous voulez avocat de défense publique là?
Oui, oui.
Yes, yes.
All right. All right, I'll go ahead and make a temporary appointment of the public defender.
Donc, un juge là, temporairement, là-bas, avocat de défense publique là, c'est quoi?
I will notify the public defender that we made a temporary appointment today and request that they make arrangements to get you an application. There's not already an application on file, is there?
I didn't see one, Judge.
Okay.
They just handed him one.
All right. Mr. Lewis, if you're able to complete that application on your own, if you could do that and then send that, have the jail send that to the clerk's office.
Judge, there is one, but he didn't qualify when he filled it out back in October.
Okay. All right. Well, she said that he did fill one out in October, but at that time he didn't qualify. But I think he's been in custody since then, so he may qualify now. I'll notify the public defender's office and request that they follow up with you as far as getting that application completed. All right. This case is currently set for pretrial on April 1st at 9 o'clock. All right. Anything else, Ms. Cabreja?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
I'm sorry, do you want him to fill this out or if he's good with this?
If he can.
Okay.
Did you have a question, Mr. Lewis?
Can I say something regarding the bond?
No, we're not here for the bond.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Lewis.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Immokalee Jail. All right. Thank you, Ms. Cabreja.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.
Judge, I have 2 cases left.
Yes. Mr. Sullivan, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. All right. This is Ms. Cypress, case number 20 CT 845.
Your Honor, I want to thank the court for your patience with us today. Ms. Cypress intends to withdraw her previously entered plea of not guilty and enter a plea of no contest to driving on license suspended or revoked third. Our recommendation to the court is an adjudication of guilt, 30 days in Collier County Jail with credit for time served, court costs, and cost of prosecution.
All right. Is that correct, Ms. Karimi?
That is correct. I just want to make sure the clerk in her system has the correct charge because my docket shows a first, but we filed an information charging a third.
Right. I do see the information that was filed on June 23rd for driving while license suspended or revoked third or more. June 23rd.
I think because the notice of clerk said file as charged, that was an error. It should have said amended charge. That may have been why it was missed.
Okay, well, if you don't, I'm gonna have to call him in. Okay, it's 20 CT 845. Should be a third, and then it's first. Yeah.
Okay. While we're waiting, ma'am, will you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you. And ma'am, you'll have to speak up because you have a mask on and it'll be difficult for me to hear your answers, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, got it.
Ready? All right. We state your name for the record. And Ms. Cypress, what's your date of birth? All right. And you understand that you're charged with driving while license suspended or revoked third or more? And did you hear the offer placed on the record by your attorney? And do you have any questions about it? Okay.
The last time we were here and he asked about weekends, was that if there was an offer with probation on it or if I was on probation already?
I don't know, Mr. Sullivan. We'll have to address that with you.
Yeah, I understood it to be a straight time offer. I don't recall the discussion about weekends. Was it a question we put on the record?
He asked the last time we was here. He said something about, I don't know if the question was, or the answer was, if I was already on probation or if probation was with this, was offered with this case.
Your Honor, I think it's a question to the state if they would accept 30 days on like weekend or something.
Okay, well that's.
The question he also asked last
Okay.
time.
All right. And the state is just offering 30 days straight time, correct?
Judge, I don't, that is the offer. I'm open to weekends, but she will have to be placed on probation for a period of 12 months. So to answer her question, if she wants to do weekends, there has to be, we're going to put her on probation too.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Is that your preference? Is that what you're requesting?
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess you'll enter a plea with 1 year of reporting probation, a condition of probation, 30 days on Carter County Jail, be done on weekends, court costs and cost of prosecution.
It's weekend lockdown, right?
Weekend lockdown?
Or weekend work if she qualifies. I don't have a problem with that either. So it could be straight weekend work, weekend lockdown.
So are you not going into custody today to serve any time? Okay.
Okay, so I got 12 months probation, 30 days jail, credit time served to be served on the weekend lockdown, weekend work, so,
Or straight time.
or straight time, okay.
And that would be as a condition of probation.
Okay, so when she goes in today, is this gonna be like a weekend of lockdown or just?
I mean, if she's going in today, then there's no point in doing weekends. So I think Mr. Sullivan needs to speak to his client and figure it out.
If she starts weekends,
She doesn't start till 6 o'clock tonight though.
oh,
We can't take her in now for weekend lockdown.
okay.
She would have to report
And then
back.
also it's she's got to get processed too through probation.
So that I'm a kid from house to house right now, how the process is, so. It's just not being bounced around.
Okay. All right, so it would be an adjudication of guilt, 12 months probation, 30 days jail with credit for time served, which may be served on the weekend work program, weekend lockdown, or straight time as a condition of probation. All court costs, including costs of prosecution, she'd have to report to probation immediately. I'm not going to put in that she has to start weekend work this or weekend lockdown this weekend because I don't know if that would get processed in time for her to start today. Is the state in agreement with that?
Fine, Judge.
All right. Do you have any questions about that? And the maximum sentence on this offense is 1 year in the county jail. Is that correct, Ms. Karimi?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you understand if you violate probation, you could be sentenced up to the maximum sentence of 1 year in probation or 1 year in the county jail. Knowing that, you still wish to proceed? All right, do you have any additional questions? Do you want to accept the offer? Are you pleading guilty or no contest? I have a plea form in front of me. Is this your signature on this form? And by signing it, you've indicated that you've read it or it's been explained to you. Did you understand all of the rights listed on this form? And you understand that you're waiving those rights by entering your plea today? Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you're not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? Are you satisfied with your attorney's advice? Has he done everything that you've requested? Do you understand that driving while license suspended or revoked is an enhanceable offense, meaning if you're charged and convicted of this crime in the future, you could be facing higher fines, higher penalties, more jail time, or a possible felony conviction? Do you also understand that you're being adjudicated guilty of this offense, which means the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles can use that against you to habitualize you or revoke your license for 5 years or longer? And knowing that, you still wish to enter your plea? Any additional questions, Ms. Karimi?
Your Honor.
Mr. Sullivan, will you stipulate to venue and a factual basis for the plea? All right, ma'am, I'll accept your plea. Find it knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest. Adjudicate you guilty, place you on probation for a period of 12 months. Sentence you to 30 days jail with credit for time served, which may be served on the weekend work program, weekend lockdown, or straight time as a condition of probation. Impose all court costs, including costs of prosecution, and order that you report to probation immediately before you leave the courthouse today. It's located here on the first floor. I'm gonna have you step over here to be fingerprinted. All right, thank you, good luck. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Okay, we have one person in the courtroom. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Hang on a second. All right, I'm showing one case left on the docket. And that is Pompilio Labra Rosas, case number 20 CT 2247, unrepresented, mandatory appearance. What would you like to do, Ms. Karimi? I'm assuming this person's not in custody, right? Labra Rosa. Labra. L-A-B-R-A.
L-A?
Yeah.
B.
L-A-B-R-A. Okay. Ms. Green.
The state would request a bench warrant.
All right, bench warrant, $500 fine, or bond.
And the fine. Judge, on the habitualization,
Yes.
I heard you asking them, or, you understand you're being adjudicated that you can be habitualized. I think if you get a withhold, it counts too.
Well, we haven't had any withholds, so.
No, we haven't, but I heard you say that and I was like, oh, I think it's a withhold too.
I'd have to look at that and see. Normally when it's a third or more, we don't do a withhold.
Right.
So I'll take a look at that and make a note of that.
Okay, I think that's it, right?
That is it.
Really, really good today.
Lisa said you did really, really good today.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. I'm glad that we resolved cases.
Yes.
That helps Mr. Stewart and I out a lot.
Right. All right. Well, calendar call on Monday.
Yeah, Mr. Rab and Miss Santini will be there.
Okay.
Because they're handling your trials.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, at least your trials next week, because like I said, the week after.
Okay.
All right. Take care,
We'll see
Judge.
where we go. Okay. Thanks. You too. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.